Um, Imagine you have this car, right? And every single time you drive it uphill, the engine stalls.
Right. It just completely gives out.
Exactly. So taking the traditional, emotional therapy route for a child's behavioral outburst is, well, it's a lot like just repainting that car.
It looks nicer on the outside.
Yeah, and you might feel better about it, but that engine is still going to stall on the very next hill. So welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at an article and a fact sheet detailing the Cogni-Enhance coaching program for counselors, which is offered by Boston City campus.
Right.
Our mission today is to figure out why traditional behavioral support for kids often just fails in the real world, and how shifting our focus to the underlying cognitive breakdowns can actually fix it. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Taking that car analogy a step further, I mean, the engine stalls because the hill is too steep, right? Not because the car has a bad attitude.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and the core thesis of these sources is exactly that. What we often label as a purely emotional or behavioral issue is actually the direct result of a child's thinking, just completely breaking down under cognitive demand.
Wait, so when a kid is acting out or disrupting class or even just shutting down entirely, it's not actually because they're just angry or anxious.
What's fascinating here is that the anxiety or the disruption, those are just the visible outcomes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they aren't the root cause. The sources actually point out something heartbreakingly common, which is that these kids often, quote, know what they should do, but cannot do it consistently.
Like they literally just can't process it.
Exactly. Think of it like a computer crashing because too many complex programs are running at once. When a task demands sustained attention or requires them to hold multiple steps in their head, their cognitive capacity overloads.
And that system crash is what presents outwardly as emotional dysregulation.
Right, basically a behavioral meltdown.
Wow. And because traditional therapy usually waits until after the breakdown to talk about feelings, practitioners really need a way to intervene during the cognitive strain.
Yes, exactly, in the moment.
It's almost like pausing a video game right before you lose to look at the stats menu. Like you check their real-time levels of attention, processing, control, and self-monitoring before unpausing.
I love that.
Right. And that gap, that's exactly what the Cogni-Enhance program was designed to fill.
And checking those stats means you are actively repairing mechanics of how the child processes information. The program itself is a 12-week short learning program, and it's essentially a 3-part journey.
Okay, walk me through it.
So in the first phase, which is weeks 1 through 5, you're building foundations. This is all about learning to spot those very early warning signs of a cognitive crash.
Oh, so before the behavior even escalates.
Spot on, which leads right into managing the actual strain when it happens.
Right, which is weeks 6 through 10, stabilizing working memory. So that must mean doing something like breaking a massive instruction, like, go clean your room into micro steps so the brain's RAM doesn't overflow.
That is the exact mechanism. You're actively managing that increasing demand so they don't crash. And once you've stabilized their processing, the final phase in weeks 11 and 12 naturally shifts to developing the child's independence.
Teaching them to do it themselves.
Exactly. You teach them self-monitoring skills so they can independently adjust when they feel that cognitive strain. And then they rely less on external help from teachers or parents.
I mean, understanding this difference between an emotional meltdown and a cognitive overload, it fundamentally changes how you view and support struggling kids.
It really does.
And what's interesting about how Boston City Campus set this up is that it's highly accessible for you if you're a practitioner. Like, you can tackle the module 100% online or utilize one of their 50 support centers.
Oh, wow, 50.
Yeah. Plus, it bypasses heavy theory in favor of weekly scenario-based assessments. You just need a 50% pass mark, which really emphasizes practical, real-world application.
Which is so important because it takes the focus off trying to fix an emotional symptom that isn't the root cause and puts it squarely on supporting the cognitive system.
It's just a much more practical approach for everyone involved.
It completely reframes the issue.
It does, which leaves you with a rather profound question to mull over. If our standard interventions have mostly been treating emotional symptoms, well, how many children in our lives have been mislabeled as difficult simply because their thinking was too strained by their environment?